You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. This is Amy Klobuchar. Today she was on The View, and she was pushed by co-host Sunny Hostin regarding her record as a DA. Watch this.
A Washington Post poll from last month had you with less than 0.5% of African-American support. That's lower than even Mayor Pete Buttigieg. He has 2%. And I've said this often on the show, you need African-American support to become the Democratic nominee. Now, your tough on crime approach when you were a county attorney in Minnesota is criticized for disproportionately harming black and brown people. And when I look at that record, you know, you failed to prosecute a single killing by the police during the 8 years you headed prosecutions. And there were more than 24 police-involved killings in that period. That's just one example. How do you defend that record?
Okay, well, let's start. I'll lead out to the support, but I want to start with my work as county attorney. We all know there's systematic racism in this criminal justice system. There's no doubt about that. And I worked really hard when I was there, and I'm proud of the work we did to go after white-collar criminals, to use drug court in a big way. We had a very successful drug court, and we actually got a 12% decrease in incarceration rates for African Americans. And I also diversified the office, which I think is really, really important. But there is so much more work that we have to do. And that's why when I got to the U.S. Senate, I started working on things like the First Step Act, which we passed, which has decreased the criminal penalties and allowed some nonviolent offenders to get out of prison. I think we have to do that in a bigger way as well. And then as for my support in the African-American community, I've always had strong support in my elections at home. And I have a number of key leaders in the African-American community from Minnesota that have gone and campaigned for me in places like California and Iowa, and that will continue. So my challenge is to get people to know me. My message of economic opportunity, of investing in our schools, I think that matters. I think that my focus on voting rights, Sunny, I am the leader on the bill to register every kid in this country when they turn 18. I think that is going to matter. I'm the leader on the bill to get rid of gerrymandering, to get rid of voting purges. As my friend Stacey Abrams, who go ahead.
Senator, you know, I think that your record as a prosecutor matters as well. And when you campaigned for the Senate, you cited your prosecution of 16-year-old black teenager Mayan Burrell as an example of having been an aggressive prosecutor. And it gives me no pleasure to say this because, as you know, I was a prosecutor as well. I've reviewed the facts of that case, and it is one of the most flawed investigations and prosecutions that I think I have ever seen. When you look at it, you have your homicide detective on tape offering informants $500 a piece for names. When I looked at it, I also saw that Mr. Burrell's alibi witnesses were not looked at. His surveillance tapes were not looked at. I mean, how do you defend something like that to someone like me who is the mother of a black boy, a black teenager? This case would be my worst nightmare.
Well, Sunny, I'll start with this. I've been very clear. All of the evidence needs to be immediately reviewed in that case. The past evidence and also any new evidence that has come forward, I've called for that. And I think you and I both share that background. And I have always believed that a job of a prosecutor is to protect the innocent and convict the guilty. But protect the innocent has to be key. So this case involved an 11-year-old African-American girl who was shot doing her homework at her kitchen table. I got to know her family. and I worked with them. But I would say I think any prosecutor who cares about justice, and I've always been on the side of justice, would say all evidence must be reviewed immediately, and that's what I think has to happen here.
Well, you're a U.S.
So thank
Senator.
you for bringing it up.
You're a U.S. Senator now. You're a powerful woman. What do you intend to do to right this wrong?
Well, I've called for the office and the courts to review the evidence. That is what we must do in the justice system. I've also worked extensively with the Innocence Project in my previous job, and we reviewed all the serious cases we had that involved DNA evidence. This one didn't, but we reviewed those cases.
It had no gun, it had no DNA evidence, and it had no fingerprints.
Are we prosecuting
Amy Klobuchar
today?
So this is a case that must be reviewed. Sunny, I think you know that I care so much about justice, and this case must be reviewed.
See, perfect example. I mean, none of these people have challenged Amy Klobuchar. Now, if folks went after Senator Kamala Harris, has said nothing to Klobuchar. As Sunny said, she's not even getting 1% among black people. Yet folks are acting like somehow she can rise to the top here. But this is an issue. Again, if you go back to 2016, the damage that the super predators comment had on Hillary Clinton, not just amplified by Russian trolls, but also there were a lot of people who said, "Look, here was a problem," but also being defensive about a comment, as opposed to being forthright and apologizing. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, are you looking to enhance your leadership skills? Are you trying to enhance those of your team as well? Well, if so, you should join Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin for her newest online course and mastermind group, How Successful People Think. She'll be your guide as you learn timeless leadership principles to apply to daily living. The offer expires February 28th. To register or start the course online, go to www.livetolead.com/Leesburg. That's www.live, L-I-V-E, the number 2, lead, LEAD.com/Leesburg. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.